Hey guys, this is Chris with Intelligence Studios, and today I am doing a song by a one-man band, a very talented artist by the name of 10 Mel, and you can actually find his 2017 six-song EP on Spotify. It's called A Year of Winter, and it's pretty awesome. You should definitely check it out. And today I'm here with one of his songs that, excuse me, will hopefully make it onto his next EP, and we're doing concentrating on some bass tricks that I've done with this song. So you can see that there is actually two bass tracks, and they're the exact same waveform. Which why would you ever need that? Well, we're going to show you why with some of the use of effects that I used on both of these tracks. Kind of separated the sound and gave me the sound that I wanted, and kind of go through what we did. So the reason why I split it up into two is because this one actually acts as the high end, while the second one is going to act as the low end. And so I'm going to play it, play the track just as is, the way it was recorded in, and the bass sounds pretty cool. And we'll kind of go over what I was hearing after playing it just the way it is. So yeah, it sounds pretty cool. What I was hearing, while I was mixing compared to the rest of the recording and the drums, that it was sounding a little rumbly, and but it called for this kind of definition in the high end with those cool little fills that are on it. So I decided to split it up into both. I'm gonna go and show you how I achieved one track being completely high end and the one being all the low end to fill it in. One other thing before we start with that, you can see on the master bus here, I'm playing this with actually an L3 compressor and feeding into an ad limiter, which I actually don't mix that way. These are just for reference, kind of what it would sound like going into a master. So that's more for reference and just for getting some volume out of it. So, for the purpose of this video, I'm keeping them on because I'm actually mixing this song at a pretty quiet level. Alright, so both of these tracks, had them feeding through the same SSL channel settings. Did a couple of notches on the filters here, but really I mainly wanted to use this for the analog sound that it adds, completely bypassing the compressor because I actually had these feeding into another compressor, which is the Waves bass rider. Set to slightly different settings. Not really going to actually go over these and spend too much time on them, but it just kind of beefs up both of the tracks a little bit. And the main way that we got separation here was actually by doing some pretty crazy EQ moves. So you can see on the high end here, all of the low end is just completely cut out. I'm just going low mids to up to highs, where I actually pulled back on some of the highs because there was a bit of kind of fuzz in the track. Mainly took care of that with this deep EQ cut here. And this one I just bypassed literally everything leading up to the low mids and lows rolled off the subs, the sub lows here. And then I actually have both of these tracks feeding into an enveloper, which I'm not really going to go over too much, but it just adds this presence to the sound. But not really a huge deal from just the dry mix, so I'm not really going to touch on that too much. So we'll play actually the bass in solo, just as is recorded in. So it has a pretty good sound. It's leveled out, but I felt like it was sounding a little bit kind of monotone with the low end, the way that it mixed with those cool little high end fills. So this is what it's going to sound like with the effects on. It's going to sound a little weird because this is just the high end. So play this. And that doesn't sound like a bass at all. Same thing with this. If it's just all the low end. That doesn't sound like a bass either, but when you start to mix them together, now it definitely sounds more like a bass. And in the context of this whole mix, it definitely cuts through a lot better. One thing I had to take notice of was the way the low end was kind of clashing with the kick drum, so also did a side chain compression here, and it's going right to the kick. So every time the kick drum plays, that's going to duck out, so the low end doesn't clash, because you'll see with the EQ, here's the kick drum here, and then the bass, the low end of the bass, both kind of taking up the same range in terms of the low end here, both emphasizing the same range. So every time the kick hits, this is going to automatically duck out a little bit. Not the EQ, but the whole entire noise. So now we're just going to play everything with all the effects on. Make sure all these are on. Okay, and then real quick, just back to the way it was originally. And with everything back on and tucked back in. as far as to maybe pull back on the high end a little bit. Yep, and that sounded a lot better. Definitely, especially tucked in with the drums. For the vibe in this song, it just feels much tighter and kind of more refined. And that's pretty much it for today. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.